Second video of the three, which I want now today talk about. Just talked about the situation big video game companies are thinking, have the grasp around the video game worlds. They think they own everything. And then I told indie game market, it's not this way, and it's really good. I, as a retro gamer, I don't see this much games which I want to play. I guess the last game I bought was Subnautica, and yeah, support the indie studios. If I am able to buy a game not on Steam or big platforms, if I would a console player, uh, I prefer to buy my games on GOG and yeah, support the indie games. And because for us gamers, it's yeah, it's kind of a last haven, so to say, because back then in the PlayStation 1 days, everything was indie. Um, Sony came up with Konami, Metal Gear Solid, Square, Final Fantasy series. Those were the big players, of course. But even back then, they were uh, quite little fishes. Video gaming back then wasn't as big as nowadays. And it's a good thing Sony is shown, hey, you can do what you want, or especially Sony on its high horses. Um, Back then with the Xbox, with the conference, always online, Xbox became a big, um, yeah, backslash, and they were told now you can do it. Xbox did not think what they want to do. Now it's Sony the thing. Everyone is crying about it. Same with Nintendo. What other companies are doing? The last years I was talking, or I'm still talking again and again with a friend of mine. Yeah, of course, Niels. I always thought, and we were talking about, for me, that gaming isn't this fun anymore. For me, it started to change with the end of the PlayStation 3 generation, starting with the PlayStation 4 generation. Gaming wasn't this fun anymore. I guess the first game where it started was Watch Dogs. Back then, PlayStation 4, Watch Dogs was a last gen PlayStation 3 game and PlayStation 4, and you know the story. They did show a game which wasn't provided. Yeah, nowadays you can play with a lot of mods on PC, and you can kind of achieve this graphical fidelity, which is was shown even for the consoles in 2014, I guess, and 12 years ago. Now it's 2026 for me, July. And yeah, then it started to crack. In my opinion, video games wasn't this fun anymore. And yeah, I started back then to see the hobby video game. It's not a big topic. It's just entertainment. Don't take it too seriously. Play your virtual games. No one is taking your virtual games away. Not a big deal. And yeah, gaming isn't changing, and the media is changing, the companies are changing because video games, AAA, the so-called AAA, yeah, who came up with this term. I guess it comes from a house market with a rating system, but yeah, video games, AAA, yeah, guys, come on, big company investing a lot of money. It's just that, and of course, it costs a lot of money. Yeah, no question asked. But video games is a media which is changing really fast. Video games today is had nothing to do with the video games which I were grown up in the late 90s and early 2000s. My generation was PlayStation 1, Dreamcast, N64. This was my peak of gaming, and then early 2000s PC, because after PlayStation 1, played a little bit of PlayStation 2, and then I totally switched to PC. Yeah, where was I? Yeah, my generation were PlayStation 1, Dreamcast, and 64, PC gaming in the early 2000s. And yeah, um, gaming back then were totally different than nowadays. I don't like the video games nowadays. I don't like the prices because, okay, prices are another topic. Video games were always expensive, especially on the N64. Um, Back then with GoldenEye, what we pay here in Germany for the UK version, it was quite horrendous. Nowadays, video games not as fun. New games, everything is open world. I If you like it, okay, but you know my opinion on open worlds. Elden Ring was quite fun, I guess, but it was kind of a torture. It's just work. Same with Subnautica. You play the games, but there's so much to do. For me, it's not fun. And yeah, I enjoyed it, but even back then with Metal Gear Solid 4 or 5 on the PlayStation 4, the first missions were fun, but after hour 50, 80, 100, um, a game don't have to be this long. Take a look at the survival horror games, Resident Evil, the HD remaster, the GameCube version of Resident Evil 1. Those are perfectly paced video games. You can play them on a weekend, 5 to 6 hours in-game time compares, or which are 10 hours real playing time. You you make breaks, you load your games. A perfect weekend game, and everything has to be bigger, better. I think, yeah, video games are changing. The media is changing quite fast, of course, and the media which is changing the fastest. Movies didn't do this. Music didn't do it. Um, I guess movies back when you only could see movies and the big picture, and then you had the TV at home, and yeah, there was media change, so to say. But um, with CDs, yeah, you had you had vinyl, you had cassettes, you had CDs, and then came the digital age. There was a change as well. Nowadays with streaming, and yeah, but the biggest change and the fastest change were with video games, of course. And like with every entertainment, wake up. It's just entertainment, and if you don't want to use the current, yeah, techniques, hardware, which is provided by the companies where you can play the games. So no one is forcing you, and yeah, don't play video games, play your old ones. No one is forcing you to play the current one. I guess the big companies are seeing this change. They are losing the old players like me. I guess people like me are they are looking at the indie market. We buy their old games and it's okay. Um, I guess the big companies are forced to watch the new generations because children now growing up play video games different than we back then 30 years ago, and it's totally normal. It's natural um, development, and yeah, if the current video game market isn't for you, then so be it. I tried Final Fantasy remake, for example. Did one I did make one, and it was yeah, it was a okay game, but yeah, just as I said, no one is forcing you. If current generation isn't for you, so be it. Play your old ones. Yeah. Thing is, it's just a hobby. You shouldn't have just one hobby. When you are an adult, you should have quite more things in one to have interest in. For me, example, I have quite a lot of hobbies. Yeah, I like my video games, but um, it's not the end of the world for me, it's just I have now my PC, which is running everything with GTX 1080. Um, for hardware in 2026, it's quite old hardware, but it's sufficient for me. I, especially now in 2026, hardware prices are, yeah, it's catastrophic. It's really bad because chipsets, everything costs because the AI bubble, everything is expensive. I guess everyone was lucky who built a PC in the early 2020s, because nowadays you can't pay for a PC which should have value. Yeah, of course you can buy, but you pay a lot more money and you pay for hardware which shouldn't cost this much. And I always say, vote with your wallet. You don't buy. Companies are saying, hey, there isn't a market anymore or whatever. Um, it's your decision, so to say. Um, as customers and dictate. If there are a lot of people which are buying, yeah, then it's a new market for them, and they will cast us old customers out, so to say. Um, I don't pay for a graphics card 500 euros. No, uh, and not even the new generation will cost up 1,000 euros. Even the consoles, no, I don't support that. Never. Um, yeah, AI bubble 2026, and I hope the bubble will explode because RAM prices. I'm just sad about, yeah, because everything is quite expensive, and it's a part of our time, and so be it. You can't change it, especially not as a small citizen. Um, you go with the flow or you don't, but then don't expect the old things. And it's like it's a new age, and everyone and a lot of people are thinking, hey, they want to hold on to old things. No, life should not be status quo. Life should go on. You should be constructive, create things, and develop yourself. Yeah, you can stay at home, do your old things. Yeah, no one is forcing you to run with the new flow. Do your old thing, be happy, but then don't complain about the new things. But I guess that's a topic which comes to mind for everything in life. Um, yeah, as mentioned, for me, best time were PlayStation 1, Dreamcast, N64, and yeah, time is gone. So don't complain about it. Just a thing, and in a few minutes we will talk about the third video. Okay, bye guys.